Day on Rocky Top. This is an exciting day for our men's basketball program, and I'm so happy to look out here and see so many people, so many alums, so many people that bleed orange and care about our men's and women's basketball programs. Thank you for being here. 1 week ago today, we officially began the search process to find a new head basketball coach. And I had many questions, good questions, on that day from variety of the media that cover us on a regular basis, and even some national media. Well, what's the profile? What are you looking for? And I'm happy to tell you that Donnie Tyndall fits the profile perfectly. You'll remember some of these profile points I made. We needed to hire somebody who was a winner, somebody who had a track record of success. Coach Tyndall has won everywhere he's been, at every level he's coached. From junior college to his first Division I job to Southern Mississippi. If you look at the leagues he coached in and look where his teams finished those seasons, you'll see a lot of ones and twos. He reminds me a lot of another coach that is on our staff and coaches on the gridiron. I saw a lot of similarities. I saw a winner. I saw a person who was a great fit. A person who, in this case, in my judgment, Donnie Tyndall pulled himself up from his bootstraps. He knew what he wanted to be. He wanted to be a basketball coach. He knew ultimately where he wanted to coach in the Southeastern Conference. And he knew the tradition and history of the University of Tennessee. And he was very excitable when we sat down and had an extensive visit about the possibility that he would coach at the University of Tennessee. He has boundless energy, one of those common traits I see in a lot of our coaches. But when you get to know Donnie, you will see what I'm talking about. He's a grinder. He's enthusiastic. He loves people, loves to be around people. Great sense of humor. As a matter of fact, early in our conversation, when we got to next year's schedule, he reached his hand out and said, "Nice to meet you, Dave. I hope our paths will cross again." He's a communicator, great communicator. He will embrace our constituents, and he will do that willingly and do that because he loves to be around people who care about the University of Tennessee. I called some rival coaches about Donnie, and I specifically asked about Donnie as a recruiter. That was one of the points I made a week ago, that no matter the sport, you have to recruit. That's our lifeblood. And a very prominent coach, who all of you would immediately recognize the name if I said it, said, "Dave, that guy is everywhere. Everywhere I go recruiting, I see Donnie Tyndall. I don't think he has a twin, but he might, because he's everywhere." His ability to connect with people, connect with players, connect with recruits, as I say, see the big picture on our campus and appreciate being a part of our university. And we've done this, and I'm proud of this. We've done this at Tennessee through Chancellor Cheek's cabinet, through our faculty, through our staff, our coaches. We really are becoming and have become one Tennessee, and Donnie Tyndall fits that extremely well. He has a very genuine priority on academic success, and his track record backs that up. Again, like I said, I don't think we could have found anyone who fits this profile better than the man I'm about to introduce to you, our new men's head basketball coach, Donnie Tyndall. I'll step right over here.
Thank you very much. Boy, what a great turnout. I'm so honored and privileged to be here today. I want to start by just acknowledging these young men over here to my right on what a fantastic season that they had. their Sweet 16 run to finish out the year. I want to say how prideful I am to be their coach, and I think they certainly deserve a round of applause for all they accomplished. Well, I'd like to just add before I start into my little spiel here that Dave mentioned the fact that I remind him a little bit of Butch, which is such a compliment. And when I dug into his past and his history and where he's from, it's amazing. We actually grew up about an hour apart. I'm from Grand Rapids, and he's from Saugatuck, Michigan. And again, about an hour apart. And Coach isn't here, is he, Dave? He's not here today. So if you would maybe just relay this message to him. I'm from Grand Rapids, he's from Saugatuck, and all the Grand Rapids guys think those Saugatuck guys are really, really soft. So let him know that for me, would you? I'm just teasing, of course, but I want to start by certainly thanking Chancellor Cheek for this opportunity. Dave Hart, who I've just hit it off with and look so much forward to working with. They were a big part of my decision to come here to Tennessee, and I certainly want to thank them for this opportunity. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my president at Southern Miss, Dr. Rodney Bennett, and my athletic director there, Bill McGillis, who I had a phenomenal relationship with, and they made this decision tough in one regard. But on the flip side, it's the University of Tennessee and an opportunity that I'm so excited about. I want to thank some very important people in my life that have helped to get me to the point I am in my career. John Brady, who gave me my first chance in Division I basketball at LSU as an assistant coach. I was the youngest assistant coach at that time at 25 years old in the SEC and had a dream of one day being a head coach at this level. Kermit Davis, my boss and co-worker at LSU, and then my boss at Middle Tennessee. Those two guys have been great mentors to me. Coach Wayne Martin. Coach Martin is here. He was a head coach at Morehead State, and some people will say I was the best coach to ever coach there, but Coach Martin was the best coach. My mom and dad are right here. My daughters who couldn't be here today, Taylor's 14, she has a softball game, and Gracie is 11. She has a big spring play that she's in, so they couldn't be here. And then my fiance, Nikki. Nikki and I are getting married in August. Now, Nikki, if you could stand up for a second, please. Now, some of you, I'm sure, have heard that rumor that maybe I was the second choice for this job. And I don't know, maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. Roy Williams was like the 10th choice at Kansas, and it worked out pretty well for him. But I'll say this, look at her and look at me. I probably wasn't her first choice either. So, but I will say this, I think it proves I'm a pretty darn good recruiter, right? I'm humbled to be your coach. I think Tennessee is a special, special place, and many people would ask, well, why do you think that, Coach? I say this, the tradition, starting with Coach Mears and all the great coaches that have coached at this university, the success that has been passed on from year to year, so many great coaches, and I'm proud to be one of them, or at least be a head coach grouped in with those guys at this point. All the great players, when you look back at the tradition, the pros, the all-stars, the all-Americans from the Ernie and Bernie show, Tony White, who I grew up watching, Dale Ellis, Allen Houston, and then recent guys like Chris Lofton, one of the best shooters to ever play in the SEC, C.J. Watson, Tobias Harris, the list goes on and on. I hope we have a few more that will be added to that list in the future. The tradition of the women's program, I grew up admiring and still do Coach Summit. I can't wait to meet her. We talk about 8 national championships, over 1,000 wins. It's just absolutely amazing. So the tradition in athletics and in the basketball programs is second to none. I believe in the student athlete. Obviously, the emphasis there on student. My mom and dad were educators. My mom was a principal, teacher. My dad was a teacher, principal, and superintendent of schools. In my 8 years as a head coach, at the end of this May, I will have graduated 21 of my 22 seniors. So when I say the word or the term student athlete, it's not just lip service. Our kids will go to class, they will be on time, they will value an education, and they will leave the University of Tennessee with a degree in hand. I can assure you that. Our guys will handle themselves in the community in a first-class manner. We're not going to have thugs. We're not going to have renegades as part of our program. It won't happen on my watch. Will we have perfect angels? I doubt it, but I'm not a perfect angel. But we're going to have people that are prideful to wear a Tennessee uniform and want to represent our university the exact right way. Our style of play, which I'm sure we'll have some questions about that, but it's an aggressive, attacking style of basketball. We full court press on every made basket and dead ball. We get after people from end line to end line. We fall back to a aggressive matchup zone. If you've seen Louisville play, our defensive philosophy is much like Louisville. We've been in the top 30 in Division I basketball each of the last 2 years in steals, and that's obviously because we're playing an, again, aggressive, attacking defensive style of play. Offensively, we're going to push the basketball on misses and long rebounds. In the half court, we're going to run a high-low motion with a ton of ball screening, trying to let our guards give them the freedom to create and make plays. Offensively, if you could envision a Kansas-type team is how we'll play at the offensive end. Recruiting-wise, we're going to recruit the best players in America. We will never, ever walk into a gym and take second fiddle or be okay with finishing second on anyone we recruit. When we walk in with that T on our chest, people are going to say, oh boy, here comes Donnie and his crew. We better lace them up, because we're going to compete every day relentlessly on the recruiting trail. And we've got to start that right here in our home state. We've got to get into Memphis. We've got to control our state, because we are the best program in the state, and we want everyone that wants to be a Vol or should be a Vol to be a Tennessee Vol. We'll leave no stone unturned. As I mentioned, our work ethic in recruiting will be second to none. I will have a staff of young, aggressive go-getters that will be great with our players, be able to relate to our young people, and do a fantastic job so that you see NBA-type players and great college players on our roster every year. We have a great university to sell. When you look around at these facilities and all that we have at the University of Tennessee, we should be able to get the best players. And we'll do everything in our power as a staff to make that happen. But most importantly, we've got the best fan base in college basketball right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And because of you fans, young people are going to want to come to our school, and they're going to want to play in front of you. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be your head coach. And if you have any questions at this time, I'd be happy to answer them.
Donnie, how would you go about accommodating the staff over you look for the staff? How quickly do you hope to have a full staff assembled?
Well, I have a fantastic staff that I had at Southern Miss, and I've got to make some decisions. A lot of that's going to be predicated on a couple different guys that I'm visiting with. My entire staff will be coming with me from Southern Miss, but they may not be in the same role. I've got to make some decisions, as I just said, visit with a couple other people, and I hope to have that done within the next 48 to 72 hours.
Donnie, as you've watched Tennessee's, the way the season ended, there's a coaching change. Just what was your take from afar on why there's a coaching change and why you're here today?
Well, I think every coach has their own reasons to make a move, what's important to them and their family. Obviously, Coach Martin did a fantastic job, and he made a decision that he felt was best for him and his family. Just like I had to make a tough decision to leave Southern Miss, because I think this is the right opportunity for my family and I. I really can't answer as to why. I'm sure he has his reasons, but I'm certainly glad he made that decision. I did, and there's been opportunities, I've said this, there's been opportunities in the past, and I was very, very happy at Southern Miss. Again, my working relationship with my bosses there was incredible. The fans were amazing. The 2-year run there was the best 2-year run in the history of the program, so I felt like I had some security. But on the flip side, this is the University of Tennessee. You can compete to go to the Final Four, and you can compete to win a national championship, and that's my plan.
Donnie, Rick Russo, right here,
Oh, okay,
WVLT.
okay.
Welcome. How important is it to you to bring stability to this Tennessee basketball program?
Well, I think it's very important. You know, and Tennessee, to me, is a destination job. It's in the best league, in my opinion, in the country, and I know that's going to vary year to year, but arguably it's one of the better conferences in the country year in and year out. Again, it's a place that I think is my network of recruiting-wise in the Southeast, where the states I've recruited for 15 years. I have the network and the relationships to be able to get quality players each and every year. And I just think, again, the fan base, the passion that our fans have, when you can get 18, 20, 21,000 fans in the gym every night, that's awful appealing.
Donnie, you worked your way up from down here, front row. You worked your way up from Morehead State to Southern Miss to here. Just what do you think the coaching in the maybe the lower levels of Division I? How do you think that's prepared you to coach in the SEC?
Well, at the lower levels, as Dave said, you're a grinder. You know, I'm not jumping on a private plane to go see a kid play at Morehead State. It was 6 hours one way, stay the night at a gas station for a 3-hour nap, and finish up so you can get back for the 6 a.m. Morning workout. And those are the things we did religiously for 6 years. At Southern Miss, it was a little bit better, but the bottom line, the resources that you don't have at those places make you do without, and you have to be hungry. You have to be driven, and I think it's prepared me because I'll carry that same mentality, work ethic, and attitude into this position as I had in my first 2 stops.
This fan base seemed kind of divided this past season, but kind of the Bruce Pearl camp, the Clemson Martin camp. How do you go about uniting this fan base? Obviously, you were able to set all kind of attendance marks at Southern Miss.
Well, it's got to start today. It's got to start today. Look, I'm a big fan of Coach Pearl. I think he's fantastic. He's obviously a great coach and had great success. He's a dynamic personality. With all that being said, Coach Martin did an outstanding job, and he had his niche. But we've got to put that behind us, and it's got to start today. And we've all have to rally and get on the same bus, if you will. And we're all Tennessee Vol fans. We all bleed orange. We all want our team, our young guys, to do well. So let's start today. Let's pull this thing together, put all that stuff behind us, and go to work.
Coach, over on your right, Rob Lewis from VolQuest.com. You've been in this state before as a coach. You've been in this league before as a coach. I know the landscape may have changed a little bit since then, but how big of a resource do you think that is? And in part, how good of a fit do you think you are because of that?
Well, I think it's always helpful when you have some built-in relationships. You know, when I was at Middle Tennessee, we recruited Memphis. We've carried that over. You know, when I was at Morehead State, our guard that hit the shot to beat Louisville in the NCAA tournament was a Nashville kid. So we have some relationships across the state. There may be a guy or two that I entertain hiring on our staff with some other or more relationships. But I certainly think with success of former Tennessee players having been at Middle Tennessee, it'll open some doors for us.
Coach Ben Frederickson, Knoxville News Sentinel, welcome.
Thank you.
Wanted to ask you, you have 4 incoming signees here who have been wondering who their head coach is going to be.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to reach out to them? And when you do, what is your message going to be to those players?
Well, I've tried to get all 4 today. I had the chance to visit with 3 of them. They all seem to be excited. I told them how excited I was to be their coach. I wanted to put their mind at ease with the fact that we're not going to not scholarship them. They're not wanted. In fact, they are desperately wanted. We want them to be part of the program, and I told them, you know, our goals and visions for the program, and we certainly hope that they'll be part of that. I told them that I'd call them back later tonight where I could visit with their families more in depth, but 3 of the 4 and all 3 conversations seemed to go well.
Donnie, Jim Wogan, WATE. I got to stand up back here to be seen. I'm sorry. You lost a lot of talent, or this program lost a lot of talent after this past season. I guess your priorities for trying to fill some of those holes, number one, and number two, have you had a chance to meet with your current team yet, talk to them, and what was your message to them?
Well, when you look at the roster, we lost 72% of our scoring and 69% of our rebounding. So when I meet with these guys individually, I'll tell them somebody needs to step up. But I could see in their eyes in my meeting with them that we have a young, eager group, guys that are ready to work. We'll start individual workouts tomorrow. And my message was very short and simple. I'm a direct, no-nonsense guy. My MO everywhere I've ever been is we're going to outwork and out-tough people. I think if they're committed to doing that, regardless of maybe what people think we lost on paper next year, we'll surprise some folks. But everybody's got to buy in and be committed, and I anticipate all these guys and the 4 signees will do exactly that.
Donnie, Patrick Brown with the Chattanooga Times Free Press. You mentioned this job kind of being a destination job. How long had maybe you had your eye, and how long this job maybe interested you, even before this week? And
well, should I tell this story, Dave? I showed Dave yesterday at the interview. My youngest daughter, Grace, she's 11. And if you've seen my 2 daughters throughout my coaching career, any of you, a lot of times they sit on the end of the bench. In fact, in the NCAA tournament, Aaron Andrews was interviewing my oldest daughter on national TV a few years ago. So they're like those girls in that movie, Remember the Titans. They live and breathe it now. So we're at the Final Four, Nikki and I, and the girls are with us a couple weeks back. And Tulsa calls on a Saturday morning, and their athletic director and the search firm wanted to meet with me. And so I got dressed and told the girls I was going to go meet with them, and went down. I did the interview. I came back up, and the girl said, "Well, what do you think, Daddy? What do you think?" I said, I don't think that's the right spot for Daddy. And they're like, "Well, how come? They're in UConn's conference? They're in that big conference." And I said, "Well, I think maybe just something down the road would be a little better fit for your dad." And Gracie, my youngest, said, "Well, what? And I said, "Well, you know, the Tennessee job may open." At the time, Quanzo was rumored to be maybe going to Marquette. So obviously that didn't transpire, and about a week later, about a week from now, I showed Dave the text. Gracie, my youngest, texted me. She said, "Hey, Daddy," and I said, "Yeah, baby, what's up?" And she said, in capital letters, "The Tennessee job is open. Hint, hint." And So you never maybe hope that a guy leaves or monitor those situations. I had enough on my plate at Southern Miss, but certainly this is a job that was on my radar, and Gracie's too.
Hello, Coach. This is Jarvis Lockhart from WJBE. My question is, will you be taking any of your assistants from Southern Miss with you here at Tennessee?
I will. As I mentioned, I'm not sure in what capacity, but my entire staff will be coming with me. I've got to sort some things out over the next couple days, but I have an outstanding young staff, grinders, workaholics, and guys that the community will really, really like to get to know. So I will be bringing them. I've just got to kind of sort out in what capacity.
You had a lot of success at Morehead State. You also ran into an NCAA issue with the probation. What did you learn from that experience? And if you just explain what the situation was there.
Yeah, it was isolated to one booster situation, a gentleman who meant no ill harm or ill will, but because he was a graduate of Morehead State University and was contacting some players without our knowledge, he became, quote unquote, an extra coach. And it was just one of those situations. Again, my staff and I had a relationship with this guy. It wasn't ever proven, and it wasn't the case that we asked him to do any of these things. He was just a guy that loved basketball and wanted to try to help get young people into school. And I certainly learned from it. I did. It was a growing experience. My athletic director and president and I worked hand in hand with the NCAA. It never went to the infractions of committee infractions. It went to summary disposition. We lost a scholarship for a year. And I'm one of those guys. I don't shy away from responsibility. I learned from it. I grew from it. And I certainly never expect to go through it again.
Coach Brent Hubbs with VolQuest.com right here in the front. What were the questions you had about this job when you sat down and talked with Dave yesterday about it?
When do I start? You know, the biggest thing I think anyone looking forward would say, okay, you know, the guys that are on the roster, do they plan to come back? Which I don't think any of them, at least at this point, have planned to leave, which is great. And then the second thing, were any of the 4 signees not wanting to come, and that doesn't seem to be the case, at least in my conversations with Dave. So I was excited about that. And then the last thing that they cleared up right away for me was that there were no APR issues, because in today's day and age, if you get into APR issues in your postseason ban, then obviously your hands are tied in regard to growing your program. So all those questions were answered immediately. The next thing is obviously, how do you feel about your boss and your working relationship? Dave's one of those guys that makes you feel very, very comfortable. He did that in a very short time last night. John was incredible as well, and I could tell I would enjoy working with these guys. So those couple, 2 or 3 things were quickly answered, and my mind was made up.
Coach Nick Carboni from WBIR here in Knoxville. You talk about recruiting, but how important will these individual meetings that you'll have with the current players be to your immediate success in terms of building trust with them, and how have you approached those in the past? This is something you've had to do several times.
Well, I couldn't hear all that, but I think you said how important will this group be in regard to...
So building trust with this group.
Okay. You know, again, I think that we'll hit it off right away, because I told these guys in our first meeting, and they'll learn very quickly, I'm not a guy that's ever going to lie to them. And some things that I tell them may hurt their feelings, but I'm a direct, straightforward person. I'm going to look you in the eye and tell you what I think. And I think that's the way you have true relationships, that people can trust you. They may not always like it, but they respect it. And when I tell them I'm going to do A, B, and C, we're going to do A, B, and C. And when we tell a player you're going to hit the line 10 times, they're not going to hit it 9, or we're going to run all 10 again. They're going to do it the exact right way. And I think when you handle people that way, the respect is there, and you form a true relationship and bond.
Seth Stokes, Tennessee Sports Radio. What do you feel is your biggest challenge coming into an SEC school perceived as a football-first school, and how do you plan on overcoming that?
Well, I think obviously being a quote-unquote football school, I first of all have an athletic director that I think is very, very supportive of basketball, and the same with Chancellor Cheek. Those 2 guys, without question, are very supportive of basketball. So that's important, number 1. Number 2, you sell the fact that you have a great football program. You sell the fact that your fan base can get 100,000 people into the Coliseum to play. And how passionate they are. And I think when you have that and you bring kids in for football weekends, it helps, it helps you sell your program and sell your fan base to a young man or his family. When I look at coaches that I admire or look up to across the country, guys that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, Billy Donovan is at the top of that list. And what he's done at a quote-unquote football school is exactly what we're going to try to do here at the University of Tennessee.
One more for Coach Randy right here to your right. Coach Randy Moore, Inside Tennessee. How active have you been in the spring signing periods, and what are the chances you might look for more players this spring?
Well, we've been active. We have our antennas up or our hands on 4 or 5 guys that are kind of just becoming available through different coaching changes or a late qualifier, things of that nature. One thing I always say in recruiting, we won't sign a guy just to sign a guy and fill a spot. If we don't feel like a young man can 100% fit into how we play as a character guy and all the things that we look for in recruiting, we'll just hold the scholarship and carry it over to the next class. Now, with that being said, on paper we have 2 scholarships to give, and if it's the right guy or 2, we'll certainly look to fill those.
And Coach, just sort of on that same topic, and I know you don't know all the ins and outs yet, but just talk about selling this place, what you know so far, this facility, the arena next door. What do you feel like you have to go out and sell student athletes?
Well, again, when you have a beautiful arena like we have, seats 20,000 plus fans that come and watch you play. Many times the gym is packed. That's your first sell. Beautiful arena that the seats are filled in. Secondly, Knoxville is a great city. I've not heard a negative from anyone I talked to prior to interviewing for the job, one negative about the city of Knoxville. The fact that we're going to play an exciting brand of basketball. I mean, I've been at two schools, you got to understand, that didn't even have a practice facility. So when I walk into a place like this and I can sell our practice facility and the resources and the weight room and the different things we have, trust me, we'll be able to sell Tennessee just fine. Okay, thanks again.